We are forecasting that the global economy will be stronger in 2015 than it was in 2014.
You need good leadership, you need good support from the global community.
The world always is uncertain.
South Africa is going to be under pressure.
Welcome to this preview of the World Economic Forum Davos 2015. I'm Sumitra Naidu. Now, South Africa's fortunes in 2015 are looking mixed. The forecast for growth has been lifted to over 2% this year, but will that be achievable? South Africa is being faced with a myriad of challenges on home soil. Most pressing is the electricity crisis that could erode any gains made. As an emerging market, the local economy is also hugely affected by global events. Europe, being one of South Africa's largest trading partners, presents increased risk.
I think from South Africa's point of view, they need to see more policy action to stop the rot in Europe, to try and get the economy going, because that's obviously an important export destination. But I don't see, other than the benefit from oil and some modest growth that we see in Europe, there's no imminent dramatic upward shift in Europe, and there are political risks there as well this year with elections in Greece and elections in Spain later in the year.
Politics and economics go hand in hand. It's clear that South Africa has some work to do in terms of rooting out corruption and correcting the imbalances and creating a more competitive market. Investors are looking for more policy reform and, in South Africa's case, real policy implementation.
Yeah, South Africa is going to be under pressure. I think the big differentiator in all emerging markets going forward increasingly is going to be reform. So I'm no expert on South African politics or what's going on, domestic. Is the reform agenda? Is there a reform agenda? But what you're seeing in a world where, if you believe the dollar is going to get stronger, there's going to be a shortage of dollars in the world. A lot of emerging markets still have big deficits, and they need to attract foreign money. So the point being, though, that all these countries that still need foreign money, there's going to be, they're going to be competing for less. There's going to be a smaller pot of that money to go around, and therefore the money is likely to go to places which are changing and reforming, where the investors will have a bit more confidence over the overall macroeconomic outlook.
The World Bank has lowered its growth forecast for the global economy down to 3% in 2015 from an earlier forecast of 3.4%. Now, while the significant fall in oil prices is some relief and will help to lower inflation, there's a real threat of more economies suffering deflation. The Eurozone is there already, the UK is dangerously close, and there's growing concern that Japan may slip back into deflation. On the upside, the US is showing signs of an economic recovery, but being the only region with a positive outlook, it may not be enough to lift the global economy. All of these factors present an extremely uncertain outlook for investors.
South Africa is still regarded as a risk destination. When the world gets very nervous about emerging markets, you'll tend to find that they'll go and buy US dollar bonds, and they'll sell South Africa pretty much across the board. We had a little bit of a scare there in early December. That seems to have gone away. We have in the investment markets called what we call a risk on and risk off environment. So as the world becomes more comfortable with risk, the likes of South Africa does quite well. When it starts to say, well, when we're becoming a little bit more nervous, South Africa tends not to do as well.
When will we shake off this reputation? Because last year we were named in the Fragile Five along with Turkey and Indonesia.
I think it's a long-term process, and also we should adopt policies which are not reliant on windfalls. The social spending story is becoming a larger part of the pie. That typically is not a productive, or it doesn't have any kind of real multiplier effect in terms of generating more growth in the rest of the economy. So we have been left wanting to some degree, but we need to just to face reality. And again, I think the desire and the capability is there within the South African context. We just need to have a little less noise. We need to be able to convince the rest of the world that we do have this ability and commitment to the situation.
Join me for more insights ahead of the World Economic Forum 2015 taking place in Davos, courtesy of Ashburton Investments.